I've got a certification exam at work coming up, but I need to buy materials for it, and if I leave work on time without doing overtime, my salary will decrease. We were discussing our financial plans for our future together now that we're married. Due to his study for the promotion exam, the money he can contribute to our household will be less. I thought it was fine since both of us are working. However, I soon started feeling uneasy about Tom's behavior. Unfamiliar apps on his phone, a sudden increase in overtime. And most notably, when we went out to eat, he wouldn't take a single bite of his food. The peculiar hand movements of the waiter caught my attention too. I felt like I had seen those movements somewhere before. If my hunch is correct, this could be really bad. I left the bar we went to under the pretense of work and distanced myself from Tom. I decided to uncover his suspicious actions. Thinking no one would notice was a big mistake. I am Hannah Young, 38 this year. I work as a tax consultant, enjoying a fulfilling life both professionally and personally. I can proudly say that I'm enjoying both aspects of my life now, but it wasn't always easy. When I graduated from college, it was the midst of a recession, and finding a job was tough. I felt like I was just spinning my wheels, desperate to become an adult. After struggling, I finally landed a job at a small company. To be honest, I wasn't thrilled about working there. But then, a turning point came. During my interactions in the business world, I realized many companies were struggling. They couldn't increase their profits as expected and were unsure about the future. I wanted to help turn these companies around, to boost their profits and make them places where employees could work happily. That's why I decided to pursue a career as a tax accountant, to be involved in improving companies' profits and performance. After years of study, I became a tax accountant at the age of 34. Transitioning from an employee at a small business to a tax accountant was quite a change for me. But it allowed me to find what I truly wanted to do. My career has been very fulfilling, but something was missing in my personal life. What is this lack? I realized what's lacking was a partner, someone to be by my side and to support each other through tough times. On my days off, I usually find myself doing things alone like watching movies or shopping. My friends have gotten married or had kids, so we don't spend as much time together anymore. Of course, I enjoy my time alone, but I often think about how nice it would be to share these moments with someone special. At a friend's suggestion, I signed up for a dating app and started exchanging messages with a few people. There was one man, Tom, who I particularly clicked with. He would later become my husband. Tom works for a nationally recognized electronics company, which perhaps adds to his capable demeanor. Our message exchanges were smooth and effortless, which I found very appealing. When we met in person for the first time, I could easily picture myself being with him. Nice to meet you. Well, it feels like we've known each other for a while because of all the messages we've exchanged. That's true. It almost feels like we've been acquaintances for a long time. The conversation flowed naturally, and I was surprised by how comfortable I felt around him. I never knew how nice it could be to interact so relaxedly without any pretense. And Tom moves with such smart grace. I find that very charming. You might be surprised to hear this so soon after we met, but I'd like to date you with marriage in mind. I've always wanted to be with someone as wonderful as you, Tom, so I'm truly happy to hear that. The transition from dating with marriage in mind to actually getting married didn't take much time. Tom's proposal, with a bouquet of roses at a beautiful seaside restaurant, is something I'll never forget. I will make you happy, Hannah. Please, be with me. Let's get married. I'd love to. Thank you. At 38, I got married to Tom. It might have been a late spring for me compared to others. But marriage isn't about age. It's about who you're with, and most importantly, being happy. I was sure I could be happy with him. But apparently I might have been the only one who thought so. I started to sense a looming shadow over our married life, a feeling I tried to ignore. Tom and I both worked, and we thought it'd be best to have some personal spending money, so we opted for an allowance system. We put money needed for shared expenses into a joint account and kept the rest for ourselves to use freely. When we were discussing how much money to contribute, Tom brought up something that concerned him. About the money we put in the joint account, is it okay if I contribute less than Hannah? Okay? What do you mean by that? Can I ask why, if you don't mind? Tom seemed hesitant at first, but then opened up. There's a certification exam at work coming up. But I need to buy materials for it, and if I go home without doing overtime, my salary will decrease. I see. Preparing for the certification exam while working must be tough. Understood. I'll help out in any way I can. Really? That's so nice of you. Tom was delighted, clapping his hands. Of course, it's an important exam for your career. We need to make sure you can give it your best shot. I remembered how tough it was for me when I was studying for my CPA exam. Having quit my job to focus on studying, I understand how challenging it is to prepare for an exam while working. Don't worry about the money. Just focus on preparing for the exam. Thanks. You're amazing, Hannah. So, when is the exam? It's in 8 months. It's a bit far off, but... Tom seemed happy to have the time to focus on his studies. I reassured myself that this was the right thing to do. However, right after we made that agreement, Tom's work habits changed drastically. What? You have a business trip the day after tomorrow? Suddenly, after deciding how much to contribute to our joint account, his business trips increased. It can't be helped, it's an order from work. But you need to prepare for your upcoming exam, right? And yet, you have to go on so many business trips? What do you want me to do, disobey orders and not go? Tom looked at me with a lack of ease in his eyes. It's not that, but... I'm just worried. Then please don't interfere. How hard I work here will determine my success. Understood. But don't push yourself too hard. They say men become single-minded when focused on work, and maybe Tom is just that type. I've been with this company for a long time, but I want to expand my role even more in the future. It would be great to see you taking on more responsibilities. I'm here to support you. Tom seemed content, but I was oblivious to the underlying issues in his smile. He began bringing work home. And I found myself constantly trying not to disturb him while he was focused. It was a bit suffocating, but I did it for Tom. Then, one quiet evening, the sound of a smartphone notification broke the silence. Huh? That's Tom's phone. The notification sounds chimed repeatedly just as Tom had stepped out to the bathroom. If it was an important work call, I thought I should let him know when he returned. With a casual intent, I picked up Tom's phone and felt a slight unease. The screen showed a sparkly app on a light blue background, which was odd. Tom usually used his phone only for work, and this didn't seem like a work-related app. Could it be an app for meeting other women? But he shouldn't need that now, being married to me. As I pondered, Tom returned from the bathroom. Hey, my phone, what are you doing? Oh, your phone kept ringing, so I thought I'd hand it to you in case it was work-related. Don't meddle with things you shouldn't. He snapped, snatching the phone from my hand. With a snap, the phone was in his hands. Sorry, but you didn't have to grab it like that. Come on, stop interfering. I haven't exactly advertised that I'm married at work, so it would be shocking if you suddenly answered my phone, wouldn't it? He retorted while hurriedly checking his phone. Indeed, Tom's company is large, so it's plausible that not everyone knows everyone else's marital status. However, his irritation seemed excessive just because I tried to hand him his phone. Maybe his work wasn't going well. Tom's attitude always reflects how well his work is going. It's likely the case this time too. Ever since that day when Tom made those infuriating remarks, I've become even more cautious around him. I don't want to be falsely accused of being the reason his work isn't going well. Tom seemed to notice my mood and started a conversation. Hey, are you free after work this Thursday? I'll probably finish around 7, but why, is something up? Well, I've been feeling bad about the other day. I know it's not much, but how about we go out for a drink as an apology? Seeing Tom's awkward smile, I felt relieved inside. And eagerly agreed. That sounds nice. But you suggesting a drink is rare these days. What's the occasion? As I asked playfully, Tom seemed to relax and opened up. Don't tease me. I just got moving on a new client project recently, and it went well. I wanted to share the joy with you. Oh, is that so? I thought you were just dealing with some tough project because of your grim face. Glad to hear it went well. How about we meet at the usual place and head to the bar district? We used to explore various places for drinks before we got married. Enjoying the combination of alcohol and snacks. Though we've both been busy with work lately, this seemed like a perfect chance to try something new. Our memory-filled area changes frequently, so there might be some interesting new spots. I was looking forward to the day. On the day we planned, I finished work early not to be late. I remembered how we used to hop from one bar to another in this area before getting married. Excited, I walked to our meeting spot. We'd usually decide on a place based on our mood, a unique encounter each time. Hey, over here. Now, where shall we go today? As we strolled through the bustling streets, a particular sign caught our eye. There were no conspicuous decorations, but each decorative accessory was somehow sophisticated. The sign mentioned it was newly opened, with handwritten notes about recommended dishes and drinks. It seemed like they had a special selection of bartender-recommended beverages. It's the first time I've seen it, but there's something about it that attracts drinkers. Hey, how about we try this place today? I was delighted by the new discovery on a familiar path. Really? You want to go in here? Don't you want to look around a bit more? There are plenty of other bars around. But this place has a variety of drinks and dishes, and it looks stylish. I thought it might be nice to try something different for a change. What? You're looking for style now? Have you lost your mind? That's not like you at all. I can't keep up with this. There was no absolute need to pick that bar, but being rejected so strongly made me wonder if there was a reason behind it. I thought this place looked good, but was there something wrong with it? When I asked, Tom let out a big sigh as if he had given up. All right, I get it. As you wish. Tom's behavior, like that of a sulky child, caught my attention. Was it really that bad that I wanted to go to this bar? I couldn't understand the recent fluctuations in Tom's mood. When we entered, there were tables and a bar counter. There were a male bartender and a female apprentice, identified by her badge, standing beside him. I felt the bartender glance at us briefly, which gave me an unpleasant feeling. The place was empty, perhaps because it had just opened. Feeling like we had it all to ourselves. We sat at a table towards the back and spread out the food menu. Let's start with some simple snacks and, maybe a whiskey and soda? Yeah. I closed the menu I was holding and placed our order using a tablet nearby. Nowadays, even in bars, you order with a tablet if you're not at the counter. It's nice not having to call over a server. Yeah. Tom's response seemed a bit distracted. The apprentice, wearing her badge, brought us our ordered food and drinks. She glanced at my face and seemed puzzled. Was there something on my face? Perhaps my tired expression from coming straight after work was showing. I took the dishes from her, arranging them for easy eating. The dishes all looked delicious. Agilo, pickles, and a hot gratin. I was torn about which to try first. In front of me and Tom were the highballs we ordered. Here's to Tom's work success, cheers! I tried to lift the mood a bit by raising my glass with high spirits. Then, I immediately started on the food in front of me. I missed lunch today because of some unexpected work, so I was really hungry. I couldn't resist the delicious-looking food in front of me. Plus, I needed to put something in my stomach to avoid getting drunk too quickly on an empty stomach. I reached for the gratin closest to me. The hot cream sauce and melting cheese were intertwined, incredibly delicious. It warmed my chilled and tired body. I glanced at Tom, who was sipping his drink slowly. It's not like him to sip a drink. Plus, his gaze seemed a bit evasive. Aren't you eating? I wonder if he doesn't like gratin. While pondering, I served myself some more. If you're not eating, I will. I missed my lunch, after all. As I was laughing and serving myself more gratin, I locked eyes with the apprentice. She was making a peculiar motion, touching the tip of her right ring finger to the palm of her upturned left hand and rotating it. That strange movement made me think. Touching the tip of her right ring finger to the palm of her upturned left hand and rotating it. Perhaps it was sign language indicating medicine. She was standing at an angle where only I could see her signing, probably meaning she had a message just for me. Realizing she was communicating with me through sign language, I quickly placed my gratin down, grabbed my phone, and headed for the restroom. Sorry, I need to use the restroom. Oh, are you feeling all right? No, it's just a quick visit. Don't mind me, and keep eating. I felt uneasy, as if my legs were frozen, deciding it might be better not to stay in the bar. Maybe I should leave before Tom. Pretending I had work, I decided to make my exit. I hurried back from the restroom and called out to Tom. Sorry, I got a call from work, so I need to head out. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, sorry about that. Are you going to keep drinking here? Yeah, I might as well. It's been a while since I went out for drinks. Pretending to return to work, I decided to stay at a business hotel instead. The message that woman at the bar wanted to convey, Tom's expressions and gestures, something felt off. I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't just my imagination. My head felt like it was going to explode from overthinking. To calm down, I started browsing on my smartphone, something I hadn't had much time for recently. While checking the news, I noticed an ad that caught my attention. An app advertised as Find Your Soulmate was the same one I saw on Tom's phone. It was the app with constant notifications, which I had assumed were work-related. I covered my mouth with my hands in shock. Why would a married person need to have such an app? I knew these types of apps were all the rage, being released one after another in city advertisements. People looking for connections likely juggle multiple apps. And Tom, always seeking efficiency, would probably do the same. It seemed unlikely he'd have just one. Feeling uneasy, I decided to thoroughly check Tom's phone. And discovered several apps. Some looked familiar, perhaps the ones I saw briefly on Tom's phone. Had he forgotten to delete apps he used before we got married? It seemed out of character for Tom, a meticulous person, to leave unused apps cluttering his phone. I decided to download the same app. The app one thought Tom was using, the one with the light blue icon. After registering my name and a simple profile, I started using it immediately. If Tom was using this app, I might uncover his true intentions. I told Tom I had to stay at the business hotel due to unfinished work and would go directly to work the next day, then proceeded with my plan. I took a day off and ventured into the city from the hotel. I bought a brown long-haired wig and a hat, then set up a profile picture. I carefully crafted the profile information to avoid being recognized. And started searching for matches, narrowing down by area, age, and interests. When I entered Tom's favorite niche game into the search, the number of matches narrowed down quickly, making it easier to find him. I couldn't believe it, but as I scrolled through profiles and icons, I discovered one that seemed to be Tom's, and we matched without a hitch. I made sure to exchange messages with Tom without giving away my identity. In the app, Tom claimed to be single, working for a certain company, and enjoying soccer and barbecues on his days off. Clearly, he had no clue he was talking to me. I confirmed that Tom was using the app to seek out relationships and decided to move on to the next phase of my plan. On Friday night, after returning home, I secretly placed a tracking tag in the car we both use. Just to be sure, I tucked it inside the pocket of a cardigan left in the car. Then, I returned home as if nothing was amiss. Given Tom's heavy use of dating apps, I figured he must be communicating with more than one person. I'm home. Work was brutal, it just wouldn't end. Got any plans for the weekend, Tom? I've got work stuff outside, so no rest for me this weekend. That's tough. There's a sale going on, and I was thinking of shopping, but I guess I'll go alone. All right. Have fun. I watched Tom head to the bathroom with his phone. I already knew he had been researching tourist spots in the neighboring town on our home computer. He looked up cruise times, a popular bakery, a park with a nighttime view, and hotels. This was a red flag. The search history even included main squeeze present and fifth date proposal lines, so the woman he was planning to date must be significant. I decided to make my move the following weekend. Well, I'm off to work. Man, working on a day off sucks. Tell me about it. Good luck. After watching Tom drive off, I set out to catch him in the act of cheating. I booked a room in the hotel he had researched and first observed his movements from there. The tracking tag confirmed he was headed to the neighboring town. I watched the pin move from the cruise dock to a chic cafe. Tonight, the showdown would be at the park with the nighttime view. It was easy to guess that he'd park near the park to enjoy the view. Around sunset, I headed to the park to scout the area. Soon, a familiar car pulled into the parking lot. Tom got out, accompanied by a woman I didn't recognize. He wrapped his arm around her waist and escorted her to a spot with a good view of the night scene. After watching Tom and the woman walk away from the car, I climbed into the back seat. I crouched under the seat, waiting for the two to return. Soon enough, after enjoying the nighttime view, they came back. Wow, that was truly beautiful. Thinking about spending a wonderful night with you makes my heart flutter. Tom sits in the driver's seat while saying this. In the passenger seat is a woman whom he is having an affair with. I stood up from the back seat, wrapping my arms around Tom from behind in a hug. Hey, what's all this about? Tom turned around with a look that screamed trouble. Well, this is, a proposal on the 5th date to the woman you're serious about, in a park with a lovely view? Did you think your affair would go so smoothly? Tom's face went pale. It was eerily visible in the dim car interior, almost more frightening than a ghost. You cheated on me while tricking me. What were you planning to do? And you had drugs at the bar, right? That bartender was in on it, right? What? How could? Why? Tom was still flustered. Want to know why? He clammed up instantly, leaving me at my wit's end. Something was off about the bar we went to together. When I checked the reviews, there were several incidents of women getting terribly drunk. All the comments were from women, which seemed strange. So what? Tom still didn't seem to grasp the gravity of the situation, trying to act tough. The bartender, a bad buddy of yours? What a setup. I spoke to a woman working at the bar again, and she told me about the women you brought with you. The women I brought? Yes, different women each time, all barely able to walk after drinking. It's said that women get drunk quicker than men, but isn't it odd to be so intoxicated you can't walk in a bar? Tom bit his lip, at a loss for words. The woman working there thought it was her imagination at first, but she started to suspect something fishy and secretly told me. Just because the people I drank with got wobbly, you suspect me? I was astounded by Tom's poor excuse-making. I pulled out a pen. It was a pen I had secretly placed in Tom's bag. This pen actually has a recording feature. I turned it on, so it recorded everything you talked about at the bar. As I said this, Tom's face turned pale. A shade I'd never seen on him before. Without hesitation, I pressed the play button. The recording clearly captured his words of thanks for spiking the drink with a drug that makes one easily intoxicated. I can't believe you do such a thing. Tom, seemingly frustrated by being called out, lashed out in anger. You should be grateful I married an old maid like you. Sneaking around like a detective. In his rage, Tom slammed his bag on the ground. The woman nearby glared at me, hurling accusations. You're the one tying Tom down, aren't you? It's your spiteful actions that make you hated. I wouldn't do something like this. It was clear this woman, Mary, was Tom's affair partner. She was clinging to him like a lover. And was yapping like a small puppy. I knew he was married, but I'm the right one for him. It's just a fling with the other women, right? I'm gonna be happy with Tom. Right for him? He works at a manufacturer, and he's gonna get promoted soon. He even said I could become a housewife. He's gonna be the perfect husband. She's a working adult but seems to run headlong without thinking. Like a dreamy girl, misunderstanding something. The man you want to marry is about to be fired. Laughable, isn't it, that your future husband is getting the boot? Mary looked shocked, then began to make a scene. That's a lie! Tom getting fired? As much as you're upset about being cheated on, that's a bit much, isn't it? I showed her a printout. I had to contact his company for something before. Turns out he lied about business trips to go on cozy overnight dates. The printout I held included evidence of his false reporting, schedules, and fake business trip receipts. The company was shocked to learn of his work ethics. They're terminating his contract. Contract termination? What do you mean? He was gonna become an assistant manager. I couldn't help but laugh. He told you that, did he? You didn't know he was just a contract employee? Mary looked confused, unsure what to believe. I don't see what's good about a man who intoxicates women for his own desires, a non-full-time employee, but if you're fine with that, be my guest. What? No thanks. I don't need a man who's about to be fired. As she attempted to walk away from the car's passenger seat, I quickly stepped in front of Mary's path, causing her to fall dramatically. She hit the ground face first due to the momentum of her fall. What the heck? What's with you? You knew he was married and still engaged in an affair, even attempting to steal him away, right? But you were prepared for the high cost of an affair, weren't you? This time, it was Mary who turned pale. I can't pay any claims. I'm just a girl, and I don't have that kind of money. Using "I'm just a girl" as an excuse at your age is embarrassing. Besides, having no money is undoubtedly your own fault due to lack of ability. Hey, there's no need to be so harsh. Tom interjected, trying to shield her. I've had enough of your farce. A woman intent on stealing a married man, and a man scheming to get women drunk for his desires, you're perfect for each other. I started walking away from Tom and Mary. I'm just a girl, so I really can't pay. Tom, you will take care of everything, right? Hey, it's all about equality nowadays, right? There's no man should or woman should sort out your own mess. How terrible. So you're betraying me now. I could hear them arguing behind me. I was surprised to hear the word betrayal coming from Mary. But none of that mattered to me anymore. I went home, packed my essentials, and left. Tom called several times, begging for reconciliation. But I ignored all his calls. Once, I answered thinking it was an unknown number, but it was Tom. Please, I can't handle a divorce right now. Do you think you're in any position to say you don't want a divorce? If I get divorced now, I can't live. Just wait until I find another job. I sighed deeply. So I should support you until you find another job? Impossible. Cry to your affair partner instead. Then Tom yelled. I can't do something so pathetic. But I was no longer someone who would falter at such words. Pathetic? Who was the one acting shamelessly towards me? Tom fell silent. Anyway, we'll communicate through a lawyer from now on. Through a lawyer, I was able to claim a substantial amount in alimony. However, since Tom lost his job due to contract termination, his parents had to cover for him. Now, he's being worked hard as a construction site worker from morning till evening. Due to his unpleasant personality and sarcastic tone, he's become a target for his colleagues, or so I've heard. As for Mary, the affair partner, it seems she was fired from her job after her affair at the workplace was discovered. According to a colleague who worked at the same company, she was loudly protesting her innocence until the very end. I have officially divorced Tom and am now enjoying my life alone. Both my professional and private life are going well, and I'm truly happy to have divorced Tom. Lately, as a tax accountant, I've been getting more clients, and many have expressed their gratitude, saying, I'm glad I asked for your help. Hearing that makes me feel that my work is worthwhile. Marrying Tom might have been a mistake, but I've gained the strength to choose my own life, so I have no regrets. Incidentally, I ran into the woman who was an apprentice at that bar at a shopping center's food court, and we had a great chat. It led to us occasionally meeting up for tea. She told me how happy she was that her sign language skills, learned in a sign language club, could be put to use in such a way. She hadn't realized I was Tom's wife, and that episode has become a funny story we share. Now, I'm content with my peaceful life.